Okay, seems almost everyone is here. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Horizen Weekly Insider number 35. Today is April the 9th, and happy Thursday to you all. Please remember that this call is being recorded and is going to be available in our Horizen podcast as well as in our YouTube channel for you to check out later. Also, please remember to ask your questions so we can have our regular mentee session with the Q&A session at the end. Let's start with the updates from the engineering department, and now I'll pass the word now to Luca.
Thank you, Angie. This is the week after the publication of our Ginger library, the new ZK Snarks library we published on Tuesday last week. And the great news is that Ginger is gaining attention in the zero knowledge space, which keeps growing day after day. Something I'd like to add, always related to the same topic, is that we contributed to the ZEX project by fixing a security issue in a gadget, and that issue was also communicated to ZEX developers, and the fix was then integrated there as well. There are other two libraries that are coming out soon. We talked about these already in one of the last weekly insiders, but just to remember and to give a little bit of context, one is Zendoo Sidechain CryptoLib that is based on Ginger and will be used by the Zendoo Sidechain SDK. For example, it will be used to compute Poseidon hashes, fast Merkle trees processing. The other one is Zendoo Mainchain CryptoLib. Similarly to Zendoo Sidechain CryptoLib, this one is responsible of making available to Mainchain core the cryptographic primitives implemented in Ginger, and moreover allowing Mainchain nodes to validate the certificate proofs to enable sidechain backward transfers. So for this, we are targeting next week for the publication. Last but not least, we are happy to announce that our Zendoo paper was first submitted, then reviewed, and then after accepted for a presentation at an important conference in Singapore, taking place in July. So the conference is BlockUp 2020. It's a very big and important one. Later I'll also paste the link in the chat. I'd like to introduce Alberto now to let him add any info on what I just said, but also to go on speaking about the most recent progress on the Sidechain SDK side. Alberto?
Oh, yes, thanks, Luca. Yes, just regarding the issue found by Horizen about, let me say, the missing constraints in the FP gadget. I mean, this is part of a bigger work that we are doing by, let me say, both reviewing all of the current existing gadgets and moreover, let me say, extend the functionality of the library. So we expect to have additional optimizations in the code and addition, obviously, to the library itself. Okay, regarding the SDK, okay, we have started the review of the Latus consensus implementation. So this is, let me say, the full implementation of the two-chain consensus. Let us call it this way, and this is the one that I explained during one of the last Weekly Insider. So currently, we already have a full implementation of it, and a pull request was ready, and a first session of review has been done. Okay, we identified some, let me say, changes that should be made in implementation, and in particular to prevent a very tricky issue. That and the curious thing is that this kind of issue was also part in the original Bitcoin implementation. So, in particular, having separated the header from in the sidechain block. I mean, the header from the content of the block, and having and using Merkle trees for binding the content of the block to the header. So there could be some situation where the data could be manipulated in a way that lead to the same Merkle root of one of these data that is contained in the header. And these, if it is not managed properly, for example, if we ban the hash of the block because we say, okay, the data inside is not valid, in reality, we could ban also a valid block because, and maybe I will be more specific. Let's say we have a Merkle tree which number of leaves is not power of 2. So the algorithm that we have, and that also we haven't mentioned, I mean, will replicate the last leaf. So an attacker could manipulate the Merkle tree by sending, instead of, let me say, the transactions, the real transaction, will send another additional transaction that is the copy of the last one. So the Merkle tree will be the same, the Merkle root will be the same, but the last transaction will be just a copy, so let me say, a double spend of the previous one. So at the end, the code will mark this sidechain block, let me say in general, as invalid. But in reality, it's not invalid. It's just the data that is invalid that lead to the same Merkle root. So this is a quite tricky situation that should be managed. Otherwise, an attacker can use it for mark valid block as invalid block. So convince another node that a valid block is an invalid one. And so we're performing some changes in the current implementation to manage this situation. And I mean, it's not going to take a lot of time, but for sure, it's it's something that they are already working on it and is going to be reviewed again. Okay. Regarding, consensus-related topic, we are also aligning the implementation of nonce calculation by using the VRF output as from Ouroboros specification, and this is going to be completed by the end of the next week. Okay. Always on the SDK side, the forger and the backward transfer implementation are also ready to be reviewed, but these are going to be seen after having merged Latus consensus pull request, because many parts are based on that, so it will be quite difficult to see before them. Always about the SDK, in parallel, we are also proceeded with the integration of the VRF implementation of sidechain CryptoLib, because as you probably can remember, we have the VRF implementation in Rust, and this is in the sidechain CryptoLib. And moreover, we are also integrating in our SDK the APIs that are needed for creating, the proof for the epoch. So as you can remember, at the end of the issue epoch, we will create a proof. In particular, for beta, we will use this new circuit that we have created is a simple sample circuit that just verify a threshold signature. So, but obviously, also this is in the Rust side and is using also Gingerlib, and this should be also integrated in the SDK. So we are currently also working on this part for integrating in the SDK. Obviously, also the main chain changes are going on, and also on the Gingerlib other we are proceeding also about optimization about Merkle tree and documentation. And should be everything from my side. Thanks, Luca.
Alberto, thank you for providing all these updates. I'll finish just by adding that the Sphere by Horizen integration of sidechain comets is ongoing as well. Back to you, Angie.
Thank you, Alberto and Luca, for the updates. Let's continue with Chronic for the infrastructure updates.
Thank you, Angie. I'm going to talk a little bit about infrastructure improvement and what's going on in the backend. Most of the time, any infrastructure work isn't noticed by anybody, and that is how it should be. So we are working on making all of our servers more stable, more performant, constant improvements. A couple of weeks back, we migrated our block and store to a new server. This was a live migration, so there wasn't actually an impact on availability. Everything went smoothly. And we're saving also money through this, so we were able to consolidate some servers. The next big infra project is essentially doing the same for the faucet. So the next weekend we have a migration of the faucet to new servers planned. This will unfortunately have a very short interruption to services because for this project we can't do a live migration just because of the amount of usage we see. So we need to do a database export and import on the new server. But with the migration, we will see a large performance improvement. So we plan on running it on larger servers, have a lot more flexible system as well, where we can scale up pretty easily and also scale it out to multiple servers if need be. And we're also going to add a testnet faucet. So people and developers that need testnet coins to test something will be able to get them through the faucet and don't have to ask on GitHub. On the node tracking side of things, a couple of weeks back, last week, we had an outage at OVH. This was a global outage in their network, which unfortunately can happen, but the impact was limited. So we had around half an hour of unavailability, and all of the issues, exceptions, downtimes were cleaned up. Back to you, Angie.
Awesome. Thank you, Chronic. Let's continue now with Spencer for the Helpdesk updates.
Good day, everyone. This has been a busy week for the service desk. A new feature was introduced mentioned last week, the use of verified addresses on the faucet. This has led to an increase in faucet tickets as some users are needing guidance on using or creating verified addresses. An indication of the acceptance of the verified address feature is indicated by the number of verified addresses. Of the 36,550 saved addresses, we're now up to 9,825 verified addresses. Total of 26.88 of all addresses have now been converted to verified addresses. So that's moving up from last week. Customer satisfaction remains strong, 4.7 stars out of a possible 5 based on 42 user reviews, and that's the report from the service desk.
Thank you, Spencer. Let's continue with Gustavo with UX updates.
Hi, everyone. As Chronic pointed out, this week we have the faucet server migration to a more robust infrastructure. And one thing that Mac and Chronic also did, they Dockerized the project, which basically makes more easy to deploy, but it also adds enhanced security to the faucet. So thank you, Mac and Chronic, for doing that. So still on the faucet, we are making improvements on the address verification guides. So some of our users have been struggling, and we've been using that feedback to improve our guides. We also have the HODL bonus feature ready to go live next week. And we are already working for a new set of features for the faucet, in which I can not yet spoil, otherwise Jonathan wouldn't be too happy with me. And we continue working on HTN Academy and supporting marketing tasks in regard to web dev work. And that's all.
Thank you, Gustavo. Let's continue with Rowan for the BD updates.
Thanks, Angie. Hello, everyone. So from my side, one of the tasks that's been ongoing for a little while now is kind of coming to a head. On the operations side, that is a kind of diversification of our banking partners, another back office type task. Our banking partner for the past 3 years, we've had a kind of one main banking partner, and they've decided they no longer want to be working with us. I guess they're de-risking their portfolio and see us as a crypto type organization that they clearly don't want to be associated with for whatever reason. So we're in the midst of opening a variety of new accounts. So we're solving this problem in kind of two ways. The first way, we're opening 2 new mainstream bank accounts. So that gives us a kind of redundancy there. And the real long-term solution is to move our business to a crypto-friendly banking organization. Because not all banks out there think that we are a bunch of back alley criminals. So there is an organization out there, in fact, there's multiple, that want to do business with up-and-coming technology companies such as Zen Blockchain Foundation, and we're moving over to that one. So thanks to Rolf and Michelle for setting up the 2 new mainstream accounts, and a thanks to Dean for kicking off the process with a crypto-friendly banking partner. We've got a whole bunch of kind of administrative type information that needs to be provided to show exactly what we need and provide all the info they require. But that's pretty much complete now. Just the final application process underway. Back to something a bit more interesting. On the business development side, we have been building up, to kind of use a term that was turned into a bit of a meme, I think by Marco, after Jonathan did a little hand dance in one of the recent bi-weeklies. We're building up a funnel. We have been for quite a long time. And what we do is we periodically review everything that is in our integration funnel. And thank you for posting the GIF. That's absolutely perfect. So it's really important that we have a really nice full funnel to complete a kind of pipeline of integrations. And we need to make sure that's topped up routinely so that we have a good number that are continuing to come through. Obviously, everything that enters the funnel doesn't come into reality. It doesn't come to fruition. Maybe 5 or 10% of the conversations we have end up in an integration. So it needs to be topped up routinely to make sure that there's a constant stream. At the moment, we're in a kind of stage where we revisit what's in there and we try and figure out what is attractive to us at this point in time. So obviously, we don't have a huge budget. We're not looking to throw massive stacks of money at different companies for integrating Zen. We're looking to kind of create mutually beneficial relationships with organizations that share similar outlooks. So there's synergy between us and hopefully create really good integrations that are beneficial to the entire Horizen ecosystem. So we're revisiting what's in there. We're trying to figure out which ones are the priority for the next quarter. Obviously, last quarter, the big important ones were Coinbase Custody, Metal, which kind of slipped just out of the quarter. That went live, obviously, just a couple of days ago, and also Abra. So we're now trying to see which ones are going to be the big hits for Q2. Just off a call with the team over at Flipside, trying to make sure that they are ingesting all of the data from our GitHub to make sure that they are reflecting a score that's accurate towards our developer activity. So that was a really interesting call, and a big thanks to the guys at Flipside for taking that and taking the time to chat with us. And that's pretty much it from me at the moment. I'll pass over to Vano if he's on. I presume he is, because he's just been pushing out a bit of an update on the exchange side.
Hello everyone. Thanks, Rowan. So we started publishing at 4o'clock Hub, and our first post is already live there, with the second one coming for tomorrow. So we are improving our reach to Russian language community there. Also, I'm busy updating information about us with Crypto Insights platforms, and submitted several updates these days. Hopefully, they will be accepted and published soon. And that's important because some of them are not very accurate and relevant nowadays. And then our virtual meetup is also planned for the next Friday, and I'm eager to see how it goes. And as Rowan said, our last integration was Bitextbook, a Russian exchange, which we announced, and they are already added to our exchanges page. That's all from me. Back to you, Angie.
Thank you, Rowan and Vano. Let's continue with Lucy for the marketing updates.
Hello, everyone. From the marketing, we are hosting an AMA with MeadowPay today at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. So Rowan will be the guest, and the AMA will be on MeadowPay's Telegram group. So please join that AMA and to show your support for Rowan and Horizen. And then also, as you all know, that we have been doing this weekly insider for quite some time now, and we also share the record of this live call on YouTube and podcast. So we know that for every weekly insider, Rob and Rob often give their final thoughts, which is always a very nice summary of the call, and then also a high level insights of most updated project position and goals and whatever they want to address to the community. So we've got feedback from team and community that people really like the final thoughts, and we've found it, they found it to be very helpful for them to better understand the development of the project. So we created a dedicated collection on YouTube called Leadership Insights to highlight these messages, so more people can listen to them, can hear them. So no pressure, no pressure there, Rob and Rob. And then the other thing is that we have added more new products, even more new products onto our store. And right now we are offering 10% off a store-wide discount for the month of April. So on social media, we currently have a social media campaign, which is very fun. In the light of COVID-19 situation, many people are staying at home, and then many are going through some tough time. It's not an easy thing mentally, sometimes as well. So during this time, it's particularly important to keep our spirit high and then stay positive. So we're asking people that, what they do to stay zen. So whether it's read that book they never had time to read, or pick up a hobby, or learn a new skill. So we are getting a lot of responses, and many of them are very, very interesting. I would love everyone to participate. And then on top of that, we are also throwing some prize. Will be randomly pick out participants' entries, and then 10 winners, and then each of them we will give 1 Zen to the winner. And then on top of that, for social media, I would like to give some growth updates. So our Twitter is very, very close to 60,000 followers, and we have over 1,700,000 followers on Facebook, which is pretty strong growth since just 2 weeks ago. And then Medium is over 5,300 followers, and on Instagram we have over 6,000 followers. These two platforms are very, very new, so we are very happy to see the nice growth in such a short period of time. And lastly, we featured a community star yesterday, Marco Jenkins, on our blog. So Marco is a newer member of the community, but he has been really active. Check out the blog post about Marco, and then get to know our community members, and then how and why they get involved with Horizen. And then we hope to inspire more people to become an active part of our community. And that's it from me. Thanks. Pass on to you, Jonathan.
Hey, everybody. Good morning. So on the growth side, we're seeing a lot of positive feedback on address verification. People really like, obviously, the added bonus, but they also really like interacting with the wallet. And we've had really good feedback on Sphere by Horizen. We're working on improving the UX. So we have seen a couple of tickets basically giving us some improvements on how we can make the signing process easier. So, for example, some people were confused why they didn't have the sign button on Sphere. Well, it turns out that they didn't have the latest version. So we added that warning before downloading Spheres. You need to have the latest version. So little things like that we're constantly iterating on. We probably are making 1 to 3 changes a week on the faucet to improve the user interface. And that's a testament to the fact that we actually listen to the users and care and try to make everyone's lives easier. So one of the big things you'll notice for this week is the new claim screen. So the new claim screen is a lot better than it was just 3 days ago. It's clear, it's specific, it shows you which bonuses you're earning, it shows you how you can increase your bonuses. And this was basically a combination of Gustavo and Linda doing a great job understanding customers, listening to customers. And it really just looks beautiful. So also, as Chronic mentioned, we have a migration over the weekend, so there might be a little bit of downtime. So if you come and it's down, just come back maybe an hour later and it should be fine. Also, 6 days left in this month's giveaway, so make sure to enter the giveaway before it's over. And that's it for me. Thanks.
Thank you, Lucy and Jonathan. Let's continue with Rosario for Product and Engineering.
Hi, guys. I hope everybody's staying safe with the COVID issues that are going around the world. And I have to say that I love seeing the engagement on the How to Stays Zen, and just love seeing the community and the people behind our community and what they're doing. So it's just wonderful. So thank you, Leslie, for that idea, and Erica and Lucy for making it happen. So my focus is or has been as of late to continue ensuring that we have smooth workflows across departments. And I have to say it's going very well. And just when I was feeling comfortable, we've identified additional areas for improvement, and that's just going to be a constant iteration. So we should never feel like we're perfect and not improving. So right now, one of my focuses is going to be to work with Chronic and Ready to clean up GitHub and getting the PMs more involved in that process, so we can identify issues to work on that will funnel into our monthly priorities, and that's going to be the Jonathan funnel. Just pretend like I'm moving my hands here. Also, I'll be working with Lucy to create a competition for the sidechain beta and HDE. So this is going to be a combined campaign to promote both systems. And of course, it's going to be a competition to have the community vote on a proposal for a community-developed sidechain. So I'm just really excited to see the creativity of our community developers, and see what we can do and how much budget we can dedicate to have this. And that's it for now, guys. Stay safe out there.
Thank you, Rosario. Ralph, any updates or comments?
Yeah, I do. Sorry. We are proceeding along on the funnel and bringing in new users, and all that's a great thing. And I feel that sometimes it's worthwhile to step back and say, why are we doing this? What are we actually trying to do? What are we working to accomplish? And blog posts are a good way to do that. These types of, like the Weekly Insider or the Quarterly Update, are a good way to do that also. But it's really important on why we're emphasizing the funnel and the Sphere wallet so much, because it brings new users into crypto through the Horizen path. And that's a safe and pleasant path. We've got a good community, we got good support, good tools, solid development team, and a plan for continued improvement that we're executing on successfully. And that's a big thing in the crypto world. There's many people that want to participate in crypto, and this gives them a way to do that, which is legitimate. And a funnel is a nice, safe way to learn about crypto, how to use it safely, how to get familiar with the tools, the ideas, and there's both short-term and long-term thinking on how to use the funnel. So short-term, we can say, well, keep your savings in crypto, or 5 to 10% of your savings in crypto. Convert it to your local currency when you need to spend it. And that's a good common crypto discussion, because in the big scheme of things, it's going to be less inflationary than many government currencies. You know, start with a small percentage of your savings, learn how to work with the volatility of different crypto prices compared to the local government currencies. Longer term, the volatility is going to be overridden by the fact that the crypto prices go up compared to government currencies. But you got to learn how to work with that. But longer term, the sidechain applications are for personal freedom enhancing applications. That's the way I like to term it. And there's many things that are done by governments and large businesses that will be able to be done in a secure, verifiable, globally distributed way using Horizen. And we've had examples of what sidechain applications are, and they're going to go in a lot of different directions. And I bet a bunch of them will be things that we haven't thought about yet, but somebody will see that there's a need, develop it, and get it out there. But first off, rapid and private payments. And, rapid and private payments, think of a secure, distributed Venmo application running on your mobile phone, but using a sidechain. Small item ownership documentation. So think of car registrations and house titles, but for phones, pets, small business shares, all sorts of other things. If we have that type of ownership documentation with transfer, and there's going to be a bunch of things required to make that work well, but that's okay. We've got time and we've got the ability to do that. Personal achievement tracking, so certifications, diplomas, you publish that you've got a certain certification and have it verified by the certifying authority, and it's all there on the blockchain for people to see. And then, of course, financial applications, escrow, international money transfers, and government currency equivalents, sometimes known as stable coins, but I'm not sure stable is the right word for government currencies. So we're making progress on all these areas. And we should recognize that it's a multi-year roadmap. And one of the things that I like is that what we do well is we develop the applications and then get lots of people to use them, so we can make these applications beautiful, easy to use, bulletproof, identify all the security and scaling issues, so that as we add in all these other types of things, we'll have a software foundation to build them on. So that's back to why it's so important to have the funnel, gain new users, and get them familiar with the tools like Sphere. So I'm really excited about how everything's progressing. Thanks.
Thank you, Rolf, for the words. And now let's welcome Rob for the final part.
Thanks, Angie. Okay, guys. So I'll start off by saying I also love the How to Stay Zen convo on Twitter. So please check it out. It's really cool how much engagement we have, and you can tell engagement by real human beings, which is pretty cool. Also very much enjoyed Markle's interview on our blog. The big message there was take some time to slow down and appreciate the moment. Hard to, or sometimes too easy to forget in this type of environment. And let me see, let me power through some of the other things quickly, because we're running a little overtime here. But the engineering grind continues. So next week, expect the Zendoo sidechain and Zendoo mainchain libraries to be published. That's really another big deal for us on our path to beta. And a thought that I had talking to Michael in our community was that the publishing of GingerLib and the improvement that Ulrich identified and fixed on Zexy are just examples of how we've gone from being consumers of innovation to now producers of innovation. And this is huge. This is a process, though, and it's something that we're really just now seeing the culmination of years worth of work in work here. I mean, organizationally, to attract the right kind of talent and to focus that talent on some of the most productive things going on in the industry. It takes time, though, and that's what we have to realize. That I wish we could just snap our fingers and see some amazing, technology deliveries and applications running already on our network. But there's a huge grind and enormous amount of work that goes into all of that. So, my big topic here is talking about the financial stability of our ecosystem. So this is really important, and it transcends the Zen Blockchain Foundation. But having we as an ecosystem have some advantages that others may not have. So let's focus on what those are, and then also think about what can we do to be even better. So we're fortunate to have a few solid, actual legal entities within our organization. You've got this organization, the Zen Blockchain Foundation, you have Horizen Labs, and you have Horizen Labs Italia. So we have 3 organizations specifically focusing all of their attention, all of their capital and efforts on Horizen, building out this ecosystem from technology to community building. And because we have actual legal entities, we can do things like raise capital. We can do things like raise traditional VC, right? We can participate in grant programs and tax credits, which Horizen Labs Italia actually recently was awarded. We can do things like participate in some of these government relief programs that are across multiple jurisdictions, because we now span the U.S. jurisdiction as well as EU and Italy. So we have opportunities that maybe other projects may not have, and I can tell you we have the intention of taking advantage of every single path that we can to make this ecosystem successful. So we're approaching everything, including, and I think this is really important, cultivating external revenues from outside of just cryptocurrency. So what I don't like is being so beholden to the price of Zen. Of course, we want to build this ecosystem to be super successful and productive so that the price of Zen increases as a byproduct of that. But being able to do things like complex projects with programming schedules that extend beyond just the short term, it really helps to have other sources of capital and other sources of revenue for stability. And we're already doing that. So the growth team's already pulling in some revenues from monetizing some of the massive amount of traffic we have on the faucet is just one example. But we're also thinking through some experiments on how to go from just linear input to linear output on what we do to making that output either multiplicative or exponential. And one small example there is looking at our faucet as potentially a service that others could white label or use in certain ways, in particular if they're not competitive with Horizen. Maybe they're actually complementary. An example there would be Brave Browser. And why we promote the Brave Browser, because it's very complementary to our own goals for privacy. So why not? Why not actually focus some of that monetization on complementary stuff? So we're doing that, and we're doing all of it. And like I said, count on us to do even more. And in the future, once we're actually the budget constraint isn't completely binding like it is right now, we will focus on things like a reserve fund, some basic hedging operations. And hedging could be as simple, and I prefer simple, as just storing savings in US dollar or euro or something else that actually matches our outflows. And that's what hedging is all about. Hedging is about making sure that your future cash flows, inflows, and outflows are matched, not about trying to make a profit on volatility in one direction or another. So we're going to be looking at everything. We are already doing everything within our power, and we're going to keep increasing that. And Jonathan made a great point that I paraphrased him or tried to quote him on one of our earlier team calls. He said, if I'm not comfortable at work, it means I'm not pushing my boundaries. And this is something that we're taking to heart, and exploring different revenue opportunities is just an example of doing things that may not be traditional for crypto projects, but make complete sense. And other businesses all over the world do them. So why aren't we? Why aren't we looking at some of the IP that we're developing and monetizing in different ways? So we are now, and we're doing this in ways that I can tell you will feel uncomfortable in some ways. Like the idea of monetizing traffic to a particular marketing asset may make some people in our community uncomfortable, but it's also a reality of we're partnering with complementary organizations, and we're bringing in more revenue, and that's a really positive thing for our ecosystem. And let's see, I can say in conclusion here, despite all the chaos of current events and the macro uncertainty that continues to extend, despite markets recovering very quickly, we're very fortunate that we had a fairly sharp and quick price recovery on Zen. Now, clearly not to the point that we were prior to this crisis, but well off the lows that we had in the initial shock and sell-off, and that's a really good thing. Immediate cost reductions helped align our budget, and we did it quickly. And the reason we were able to do cost reductions so drastically and quickly was because we'd been through this drill just a few months prior. Right, we're coming out of a couple-year bear market. We've gone through several iterations of cost cutting and budget controls in that bear market. So despite a few months of doing really well on the budget side, we were prepared to just simply just revert back to our prior plan as soon as this happened. We did it quick, and that's key. Another thing here that goes to just our organizational capital is the idea of having great relationships with our partners. And you hear different team members talking about this, like Rowan today talking about our relationship with Flipside Crypto. But we have great relationships with many other partners that are parts of our ecosystem in different ways. And those relationships allow things like flexibility on contract terms and rates, particularly during adverse times like this. So we've been very fortunate there in seeing an immediate payoff by having that kind of flexibility factoring into our cost controls. And like I said, we're also exploring these other initiatives to bring in more revenue, more capital. So just overall, I can say we're not doing too bad. But I don't want to jinx anything, so I'll stop there. But now let's open it up to questions. And Lucy, do you have any Menti questions?
Oh yes, as always. So the first one is more of a request and then a question. So he wants us to comment on acceptance of Ginger.
Sure. Alberto, do you want to talk about Ginger?
Okay, I mean, I don't know if I understand correctly the question. I mean, if it is related to, let me say, adoption, probably. In any case, what we have been seeing, I mean, that, for example, also because we have implemented the mixed FFT, and this was something that was currently missing on Zexe. For example, they now have mentioned our implementation in a pull request that they have, and moreover, I mean, we have been seeing some signals of people that is interested in what we're doing and understanding also, let me say, what could be ported to Zexe or what are the differences. So this is mainly the signals that we have found. But let me say, we are just at the beginning because we are continuously improving the library by adding tools that are going to be used and be useful for developers that are, let me say, that want to have recursive proof composition and let me say, all the tools that are needed for creating a fast circuit. For example, another important part that we are adding with Ginger is a very efficient implementation for Merkle trees. And this is, and Marcelo did a great job on this, and in particular, let me say, implementing optimization for, let me say, that are possible by calculating many hashes in parallel, and this has been used for, let me say, optimizing the algorithm that is required to perform the hashes. So this is another important part that probably we have not yet, let me say, described, and currently the documentation. Marcel is specifically working on the documentation for that. And this is something that for sure, let me say, has some value, especially if we're thinking about scenarios where we need to compute a lot of hashes. And for sure, we hope that this will attract even more developers. That's it.
Well, thank you, Alberto. So the second question is, does Horizen outsource marketing? I see a lot of being done, YouTube videos, Twitter posts, etc. A percentage of budget goes to marketing. Okay. Well, I can answer to that.
You're pretty qualified to answer this.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm very proud to say that we do all of these things in-house because we have an awesome team. It made me very happy to know that people have started noticing the amount of work being done, and then all the beautiful visuals, including graphic designs and videos, are created by our very, very talented in-house design team. Linda and Marco, and our very popular communications manager, Erica, manages all our social media platforms, engage with our community, and then addresses community concerns. And then everyone else really from within the team always supports what marketing team is doing and provides ideas. And so it's really a teamwork for sure. But we are, I'm very proud to say that we do that. Everything is generated within our, in-house, and we do have a very a limited budget, but but we find ways to operate very efficiently, and then at the same time maintain a very high quality delivery, and then it's all made possible, because of the team. Really, we have truly the best team in the industry, and I'm just very proud to be part of it. That's all I want to say. And Rob, if there's anything that you would like to add, please do.
Other than I'm just super bullish on our marketing team. No, that was perfect, Lucy. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. So the next question is, so can we have this item on our store? And then there's a link provided, and then the link is a neon store sign showing, I think, crypto. Like certain cryptocurrencies accepted here. Well, everything is possible. It's not. We currently don't have a big item like that, like a neon store sign on our store. But it's we can definitely looking into that. But we do have other stickers, Zen accepted here stickers on our store, and then other stickers, and along with some other really cool products, including masks, on our store right now with designs. So please check out. And at the same time, I'll definitely be into adding a neon sign on our store, for our merchants as well. I think it's a pretty cool idea, for sure. Well, I think we are a little. There's a very technical question. Do you think we can? I think we can answer to that. What do you think, Rob?
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed that one, Lucy.
Yeah, there's one last question. I think people are interested to know about sidechain. So the question is, would it be possible to re-bootstrap or recreate an inadvertently seized sidechain from its previous state? Can developers start over after running into unforeseen issues?
So I know the perfect guy to answer this question.
Oh, good.
Okay. The short answer is no. Why? Okay, because when the sidechain is considered seized by not submitting the certificate, it's enabled a procedure that let users withdraw from that sidechain, and this is something that is guarantee users that will be able to withdraw from sidechain that are, not functioning anymore. And this is a very important part. But obviously, this comes with a price, because obviously the state of the sidechain will not be updated anymore. We are removing, UTXOs, let us say, from that sidechain, without even respecting the rules of that sidechain. You will have to provide a proof that you had that coins, but you can, if the sidechain, if that, for example, just to make a very simple example, a time-locked UTXO. A time-locked UTXO could be locked for that epoch, but if the sidechain has been seized, you should be able to withdraw that coins by providing the proof of having the private key, obviously. So this is a very simple example that explains clearly why it's not possible to, making it alive again after having withdrawn something. because some other rules could have, could have relied on this lock. And these rules are not going to be, respected anymore if I withdrawn that coins directly from the main chain. No? So for this reason, is not possible. But this is in some way we can see it as a feature, because in any case, even from a seed sidechain, you will be able to withdraw your coin, and every user will be able to get back the coins that he had in that sidechain.
Thank you, Alberto, for the additional question. To answer the additional question, so these are the top 4 questions today. Weekly Insider will post the rest of questions and answers on the Weekly Insider chat channel here on Discord. That's it. Thank you, and stay safe. Back to you, Angie.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Have a great day and night, and I hope to see you all guys soon. Take care.